it's setting up the meeting again. Loading anytime.
Now, am I gonna get feedback because I'm on this?
Nope, it says we're live.
Okay.
Well, do you see it?
I do. Well, it's loading. It's doing this whole thing.
It's okay.
Here, let me look at it on my phone. Maybe that'll be.
Just make sure that it's working.
No, we're live.
Oh, we are. Okay. It looks like there's a delay, but that's okay. We know that we got it. So I think that we on the Zoom. And then let me make sure there's no feedback on this end, and we can go from there. And then, so I'm just going to split my screen so I can see any comments on the live while still seeing you on the Zoom. We should be good to go.
All right.
Computer's just going a tad bit slow. I'm just about there so that we can start. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, good evening, Natural Week community.
Hey.
I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to our Natural Week Community Hour. We're really excited. For those who joined last week, I thank you for your patience. As you can see this week, we got the technical difficulties up and going, and we are smooth sailing. So we're just really, really excited. Welcome once again. We are going to just jump right in. Before I introduce our speaker for this evening, we're just going to settle ourselves, get ourselves here in the present. Every week on the Natural Week Community Hour, we're going to start with just a short breathing exercise to let us be present. A lot of us have had Zoom meetings all day long, or we've been trying to homeschool our kids, or being with our students, or just trying to find a way to go outside a little bit more, or finding things to do around the house, no matter what it is that we've been doing. Some people have just been doing self-care work, writing, journaling, so on and so forth. Whatever it is, we want to just center ourselves for this hour. We want to just kind of breathe and relax. Natural Week Community is a space for us to just be us and who we are. So Jaunae is going to be playing a little bit of music in the background as we get ready for this guided breathing exercise. The music is African Music for Meditation by Mbira Balafan Inspirations. So we are very excited for it. And so if you're sitting down, if you're standing, laying down, however it is, you just want to get yourself in a comfortable space. Get yourself in a, both feet on the ground. You can close your eyes, or you can not close your eyes, but you want to just be comfortable. And just breathe out. And breathe in. And you're going to continue to breathe out through your mouth and breathe in through your nose. And as you continue to breathe and focus on this moment, we'd like you to just breathe out any negativity. And breathe in positivity. And we breathe out worry. And we breathe in peace. And we breathe out stress. And we breathe in calm. And as we continue to breathe, we breathe recognizing that we are alive in this space. We breathe recognizing that we are a great people. We breathe out any sense of inferiority, and we breathe in our power. We breathe out negative stereotypes, and we breathe in our full divine purpose that God has placed inside of us. And we continue to breathe, knowing that we are in this world, on this earth, for such a time as this. And we breathe in gratefulness and gratitude of being here and understanding that we are not ashamed of who we are. We breathe out trauma, and we breathe in healing. We breathe out apathy, and we breathe in love and light and our identity. And as we continue to breathe, it is naturally hope and desire that every week in our community hour, that you come to this space being authentically we, that we smile, that we laugh, that we breathe, and that we continue to repair ourselves, we continue to heal ourselves, and we continue to move forward. We continue to progress. We continue to empower ourselves and enlighten ourselves and know that we are here for we. We are here for each other. We're here because we can be here, and we are going to be here. We let no one make us feel ashamed for who we are, but we are proud African people. We are proud Black people. We are proud individuals, and we are proud in the community. And I thank you for being in this space. I thank you for joining us. And I thank you that you are you, that you are part of us, that we exist together. And if your eyes are closed, you can feel free to open them, take a couple more deep breaths. Jaunae, we need to turn down the music, and we're going to begin slowly. Thank you for joining us. Jazz McGee, I see you. Thank you for listening in from work. We're excited to have you. Our Associate Director, Timothy Bryan, is online as well. We thank you for joining. And so we're going to get right to it. This is Natural Weed Community Hour. And this week, our guest is Jaunae Gardner. She is the founder and executive director of RBG Academy. I am going to let her talk about RBG Academy and give us a, Tim, we see your wave, and give us a synopsis, and then we're going to jump right into the conversation. I'm excited. I love Jaunae. Just real quick, hi, Pamela. Thank you for joining. Just real quick, Jaunae met me when I was 18 years old. And the very first time I met her, I asked her if her family knew how to play sports. The church that we attended was having a softball game, a softball day. And so we all are in our jerseys and sweats and shorts, everything. Her family came in dressed in their Sunday best.
Right.
And I ran up to them. I said, "Welcome to our church. Do y'all know how to play softball really well? Because I only play on a winning team." It was very serious. So this is great. I haven't been 18.
You also challenged my husband to a race.
I did. Yeah, so I'm not 18 anymore. Since she has met me, I have graduated from my bachelor's program and my master's program, and I've enrolled in a PhD program. So that's the.
Amen.
What'd you say?
I said, amen.
Yes, amen. And so we're going to roll with that. I have called her many times, venting. And like, can I come and get a hug and sleep on your couch? And she has said yes. So it's just another added layer of being able to really understand what we mean by community and going from there. So I'm going to let Jaunae introduce RBG Academy, and we just go from there.
Thank you for that glowing introduction. Yes, you are my whole entire heart. I love you to death. And I thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak about RBG Academy. So basically what RBG Academy is a homeschooling community that centers around the African child, meaning we talk about our history from our perspective. We talk about other subjects that are relevant to us, such as finance or science or English language arts. We learn how to manipulate words and to use them, deliver speeches and all that type of stuff, because our kids need to be empowered in their whole self. So not just one particular area. I think when we first started 3 years ago, we focused primarily on our history from our perspective, and that was great. And then I was kind of brainstorming with another lady who helps out with our math. Her name is Stacy. I don't know if she's watching, but anyway, it just naturally manifested that we have these other subjects, to offer as well. So we came up with, she came up with the math portion, and then we developed the science and the English language arts, the finance, because those things are extremely important. So our community itself is pretty much intended for the whole family. It's not a drop-off program where you just come and you let your kid hang out and then you go, make your Target run or hit up Starbucks. The goal is that the parents are learning right alongside their child. And the reason, of course, first of all, is for the protection of the child, because I literally could be teaching a kid anything. In this case, we're not. But we want parents to take that responsibility for their kid. And then secondly, we didn't get this stuff growing up. The stuff that we're teaching at RBG Academy was not in the public school system at all. It's not in there now. It wasn't in there a long time ago. So a lot of the information is very fresh to the parents, to the grandparents, to the great grandparents. We actually had a great grandparent this year, who are, this information is fresh to all of us. So, we're promoting that community feel, right? Like, and then the other unique facet to RBG is that we practice a one-room schoolhouse style. And the reason that we do that is so that our younger children can see the interest and the behavior modeled in our older students, and our older students become mentors. They need to know that they're just that valuable. Like, they don't stop being important because they've reached a certain age. No, you are valuable to our community, and your job is to mentor our younger students. So that being said, it is a homeschooling community, and it's that therefore we get to do a lot of things differently that you don't get to see when you're educating in a traditional brick and mortar setting. So I hope that kind of answers exactly what RBG is. You know, it's great. We started off with just myself and Stacy in my living room. And the next year, well, actually within 6 months, we had about 12 kids. And then the next year we had 20, 25. And then this year we actually opened up an additional campus in Woodland Hills, led by the wonderful, spectacular Linda Edwards. Um, she had a community up there, and then we added an additional day here in Long Beach. So we ended up with about 60 students for the beginning of this year. Um, the wonderful thing about what we do is that at the end of each year, we have something for the children to look forward to. So our learning is cyclical. Uh, and we call those each year a revolution. So we educate our kid in revolutions 1, 2, and 3, and each year we're focusing on something different, and then we circle back around. So that spiral approach, you know, the kids are building and building on the same concepts, but at a different level as they get older. So yeah, it's been great. Just developing the curriculum for it has definitely worked me, but it's also been super encouraging to see so many people in need of a space like this, and just thrive in a space like this. So it's been a total blessing. Um, oh, hi. I see that Stacy just commented. Yep, best days ever. Yeah. So yeah, we got so much to give these kids, and we're, you know, looking forward to continuing. Our vision and our goal would be to open more spaces like this. And the reason is because as I participate in lots of African American homeschool Facebook groups, I see there are some communities that are out there, but then there's just simply not enough. So my hope and desire is to continue to build up these communities. And, you know, it when I say the word community, I mean that in every sense of the word. Like it started with the focus being education, and it starts with the focus being education. But one of the neat things that we got to see within the last 2 years is how we actually have become a community. So we're there supporting each other in so many different ways. We're involving each other in our life activities. We're going on field trips together. There's a few of us that do Girl Scouts. There's, you know, like we got all these different things because we've built this community and we're tying each other in. We're literally doing life together. There are families who have homeschool teenagers connecting with families who have younger children, but then they may have an older teenage sibling who's in a brick and mortar. But those teenagers ended up connecting, and they're building friendships and whatnot too. So it's also super redeeming because a lot of our students have started in the public school system, and they've had some sort of negative interaction at school, and they needed a community where they can actually be built up. You know, and we've had students who have been wounded in a traditional system, and they come to RBG and they just blossom. They are so loved, and they feel it. It is so palpable. You know, we don't have issues like bullying or, you know, teasing or fighting or anything like that, because everybody is literally so excited for whatever stage the next person is in. When the kids are delivering their presentations, like the room erupts with applause. It's really neat to see this genuine community develop. So I'm really excited about that, and I hope to see it continue to flourish, and you know, we'll be able to open up new campuses, not just here in California, but in other states as well. You know, these just things that I'm visioning forward, right? Thank you, Olivia.
This is awesome. Thank you. And thank you to those who continue to join. It's just great to hear how much of a community-oriented classroom it's in, and
Yeah.
how we can tell by the look on your face how much you love not only the kids but the family,
Yeah.
and being able to really just pour into them, and build them up. And this is one of the things about this is it's not happening when they get into college.
Right.
As many of you all know, I teach in Pan African Studies at Cal State LA and Africana Studies at Cal State Long Beach. And so many of my students say, how come we didn't get this when we were already growing up in K through 12 and anything? But here is RBG Academy doing this before they get to me and my colleagues. And
Right.
not only is it just the history aspect of it in terms of here are some facts, but here it is, no, you're loved. And not only are you loved, but you're great. And not only that, but here is a sense of identity, and here is a sense of purpose. So can you just kind of speak a little bit to on that in terms of what RBG does?
So it's very interesting. One of the things that I often tell people who are, trying to get more information about us or find out, how they can support us, I tell them that a lot of times we don't get this information until the student is at your level, right? What a beautiful thing it would be if a child could get it from the very beginning, instead of going through life in a broken system that does not celebrate, that does not encourage, that tears them down, that verbally abuses, they're literally cutting their teeth on this information, on their identity being phenomenal, their strong heritage, the rich culture. Um, they're finding out what's relevant to their community in terms of finance, why these things are important, how they can start building these things long before they reach college level. And it's super important. As you know, the quote goes, it's easier to build up a child than it is to repair a broken man. And that's basically what we're doing. We are just trying to develop the whole child and create a safe environment for them to learn about themselves, uninhibited. One of the things that's unique about RBG Academy is that it is a solid all African community. And that's very intentional. One of the reasons is because when we're in environments and we're learning about ourselves and the actual truth of history, right? Sometimes our children might draw back or pull back a little bit because they're looking at other people in a room, wondering how they may feel as they're hearing this information. Well, at RBG, they're able to let their RBG flag fly, right? They can just let it all out, and ask questions that they wouldn't otherwise ask with other people in the room. So it gives them a sense of freedom, as they're learning about themselves. And then it also, again, builds that community piece, right? We're not learning this stuff in a vacuum. We're not only in our houses, we meet up and we're learning this stuff together. So we're literally growing together. And that really helps in terms of their development into those college years, because they're strength in numbers. And if nothing else, they'll be able to think back like, man, I wasn't just by myself. It wasn't just my mom teaching me on the Saturdays or on the weekends or in the evenings about my culture and my history. It was a whole group of us, and we were all excited and vibing off of each other. And it's so important that we give our kids this space, while and I don't want to make it seem like I'm taking a dig at public schools. I understand there's different forms of education for everybody. But one of the things that I feel is neat, um, is that our kids meet up once a week, and then they're free to explore whatever else they want to explore, right? So they're not. It's not just it becomes a way of life, right? They have work to complete during the week, and then we meet back up for that once a week meeting. But the kids are still individuals, right? We got kids who scuba dive. We got kids who are into bird watching. We got kids who are phenomenal artists. We have children that are actors, right? And they're able to meet up this one day together and just shine. And that's one of the things that we say at RBG Academy is that we stay shining, because they're able to do that. Hi, Zena. They're able to do that without any just feeling inhibited, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's really neat. And it also grows me, and it stretches the parents, in those arenas where, they have to participate in, right? So a parent has to maybe they have to go to work, or they're in other professional environments where they feel, like they're the only chip in the cookie. And the parents now walk with a new swag because they know that they're empowering their children from the cradle to the grave.
Thank you. And remember, y'all, we are in lockdown at home, so Zena needed to make sure her presence was felt, as she is also locked at home. But this is beautiful. And just reading a couple comments, one of our board directors, Olivia Hilborn, who we lovingly call Lady O because she is Lady O, she was educated in LAUSD, and then she actually taught in LAUSD for 33 years. And she said that everything that you, Jaunae, are speaking of is true. And so just what a validating comment in terms of the work that you're doing. In another comment that she put, she said that, I want to make sure I have it right. She said nurtured, protected, and empowered. And that is one. So yes, we're not taking a dig at public schools. We realize that there are committed teachers in the public school institution who love our kids. Many of my friends are actually educators in the public school system, and
I'm married to an educator also, so yes.
Yes. And what we're talking about is when we say the public school, we're talking about the institution, and right. Institutions that have been rooted in systemic racism and oppression of our people. And so when we're talking about what are these other ways, what is a way where, yes, our children are going to be nurtured, our children are going to be empowered in who they are, and our children are going to be protected every single year. And when I say year, I'm talking about the school year. How many times do we see pictures, videos, GoFundMe, things like this of our kid was chased down by school security. Our kid was forced to cut her or his locks off in the public school system. Absolutely. Our kid is not able to be who they authentically are, or they can't graduate, so on and so forth. So as much as we bring awareness to the fact that, hey, in 2020, in this 21st century, these things are still happening, what is also happening in terms of where we take our children, our education, our identity, ourselves into our own hands, and we build and we nurture and we empower and we protect. And so this is where it is empowering. And not only that, as much as we share what is still happening in these systems and institutions, when is RBG gonna go viral? And not only am I saying, when is RBG gonna go viral, but let's put it into our hands where we make RBG go viral. Here is a system that is thriving. Here is an RBG Academy who 3 years ago started in a living room and now has 2 days in Long Beach and 1 day in Moreno Valley.
No,
Moreno Valley?
Woodland Hills? I don't know.
Look, there's 3 locations in 3 years. And so since there's 3 locations, 3 years, and we see a vision of being able to continue to grow, a vision and being able to continue to build. I see LaShawn, she said, love RBG, only history class we will participate in. Absolutely. There is an African proverb that says, until the lion has a storyteller of his own, the hunter will always be a hero. Well, guess what? African people, we got storytellers of our own. We have our community groups. We have those who are able to speak on our history from our perspective and talk about what we do, how we have history before enslavement, how we have history during enslavement, because we were able to read, we were able to write, and we resisted and we continue to resist during that whole time. And after, and we have a history even beyond and continuing, and we are doing things for ourselves. We don't have to necessarily always look for, well, where's our next Malcolm X, or where's our next Dr. King? Well, Jaunae Gardner is right here. Naturally, community is right here, and you ain't gonna die. So I'm saying is we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait. We are right here.
And and that's the reality, is that we don't have to. Not only do we not have to wait, but we also don't have to do things in the traditional way, right? There's so many different ways to educate your child, right? And just as many ways, just as many different ways as it is different kids. You see what I mean? So there's so many, no one thinks the same way, and every kid gets to have something that's tailored to them. You spoke earlier about being in an environment where they don't have to be forced to cut their hair, or they're not forced to get on the ground and get arrested by some school safety officer or what have you. When the children walk in the door at RBG, they are, girl, I will stop class to make sure I greet each and every one of them, because they are valid. And it's another thing that we talk about often in our community, is that your voice is valuable. You are important. Not the you is kind, you is smart, not like that, but it's a genuine, you are everything to this community. You are that special to us. And the kids need to know that they have something to offer, right? Not just something to give, but something to offer. Like it's just so phenomenal to watch these kids just week after week, just grow from, the place where they come in, they may be a little timid, to by the time they leave, girl, they're up there giving speeches. They're all power to the people. It's wonderful. And so the things that, a child may wrestle with in a traditional environment, that we don't give voice to that here. That's not where we're coming from. So let me just tell you guys a little bit. This is my, I'm ending my 11th year homeschooling. So I started homeschooling when my oldest son was in 5th grade. And the reason that we did that is because he was having such an incredibly difficult time in school, not academically, but just because he was who he was. So he would get in trouble all the time for talking, for just ran the smallest little nitpicky things. And this is also the story of a lot of my students. Just, you have this wonderful, beautiful Black boy the boy started reading when he was 3 years old on his own, just decided to read one day. And he's musically gifted, and he's in there shining, and he's just all types of innocent and happy. And something about that rubs certain teachers the wrong way, and it's the darkness, right? Can't deal with the light. And constantly we were getting phone calls. We'd have to go up to the school. It was this meeting, that meeting. He was on a behavioral plan. So the last straw for me, he had been on a behavioral plan, and he brought in his homework to school. Like, I signed his behavioral plan, put it in his folder, had his homework, signed his homework, put it in the folder, and he went to school. So the procedure was that they open up their work, they take out open up their folders, take out their work, and then they're supposed to pass it to the front and for the teacher to collect it. Okay, now perhaps that worked. This particular day, it was not working, and my son somehow lost all of the things that this teacher was expecting to receive from me the next day. And she called me in the middle of class. He doesn't have his paper. Okay, well, it's cool. I saw it, I signed it, I put it in this folder and I sent it there. I'm not sure what happened. But I just want you to know that I saw it. Well, he needs to find it. Oh, okay. You're there with him. I'm not. Did you want to walk him through? You want to help him search his desk? I mean, I just can't. I said, I cannot believe you are holding up the entire class, making my son a mockery when I just told you I saw it. So that really gave me insight in how my son must have been internalizing this, because it hurt me. It was embarrassing for me. And it was something so silly and simple, it could have been overlooked. Now imagine how many children go through similar situations like this every single day. Okay. And for me, the decision came because it was like, how long am I going to continue? My child is only a child from birth to 18. How long am I going to continue to put him into this environment and allow his spirit to be crushed in this manner? No more. We're done. So my husband and I, literally the next day, we took him out and we began to homeschool him. And the change that began to happen in my son was mind blowing. It was such a phenomenal decision. I do not the only regret I have is not doing it sooner. I promise. So the next years we began to homeschool him, and we saw him fall in love with himself. We saw him teach him how to teach himself. He's a drummer. He's taking drum lessons. We saw him teach himself how to play guitar. We saw him teach himself how to play bass. We saw him build all types of contraptions and whatnot, and he had joy. So it's not only the educational factor, but we're talking about the whole child, the whole self, where these kids are validated. I remember one of the moms said, oh my gosh, I can't believe nobody here tried to touch my child's hair. Because in the other environments, that's what he was dealing with. Students reaching up no, that we're not here for your petting pleasure. That's not what we're doing. But when they walk in the doors of RBG, they're like, oh, look at your afro. It's so great. Oh my gosh, did you get locks, girl? That is beautiful. All that stuff. And it's just something that we continue to encourage, because our children need that. Our children deserve that. Why is it that it's our kids that have to suffer through that? You know what I mean? So not to say that in white environments that bullying and craziness doesn't happen, but there's something racist behind how our children are treated. Why exactly, there's an added layer. Why on earth will we continue to send our kids to these environments? You know what I mean? When we know that there's a systemic issue that we have been protesting long before brown person board of education, right? Like, come on, why are we still here? So that being said, not just in the realms of education, but other systemic oppression as well, because all these systems are interwoven and interconnected, right? So if we're going to overcome, then we need to start overcoming. At some point, we have to make a decision and say, no, that's enough. I've had enough of that. And we need to look for other ways to empower our children and to empower our people.
Right. Thank you. And
that was a sermon. My bad.
Don't apologize. Don't apologize. This is what we do. It's so important. There's a couple comments talking about saw this in preschool, right? And we hear about this. A lot of preschoolers getting expelled on the first offense. So-and-so RBG sounds like a revolutionary way of teaching, and it is. I've had the pleasure of being able to see some of the kids who are in RBG and meeting some of the parents at different events and different things, and they're just so full of life, and just how much they love themselves. There's a buzzword going around, a buzz phrase like this, emotional intelligence. These kids don't have to worry about figuring out what emotional intelligence is and they turn 19, 20, and 21 years old, because it's already built within the curriculum and they already are knowing how to express themselves and figure things out. I've watched these kids say, you really hurt me and that hurt my feelings and it made me feel this way. Can we talk about it? Yes, niece and nephew, we can we can talk about it. and going from there are how so there a lot of people are Zooming and things like that, and so some kids were in a Zoom meeting and this other little boy was like trying to spit all these facts about how much he knows about Africa, and these RBG kids, it was the greatest thing. The RBG kids were like, you really think you're telling us something? Like, what? Like, you could just see them, and especially, and these were boys. These were some young men of RBG Academy who were like, man, if only you knew, like, and how unbothered they were. Like, I think that's one of the best words I say. They were unbothered and they were so unbothered because of how much they know who they are, because of how secure they are in their identity. And this was something that we really wanted to really bring to the forefront in this Natural We Community Hour. These young kids, these young African people know who they are. And not only do they know who they are proud and secure in who they are. There is a recognition that the systemic oppression and racism has happened, but they don't let that narrative determine how proud they are of who they are and of themselves. And that is something that is just absolutely wonderful. We have about 15 minutes left. And I just want, Jaunae, if you can take a couple minutes and talk about some of the things that RBG Academy has actually done for the kids. I think you said that they have stocks and a business plan. If you can just talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so each year, we try to focus on a different area of finance. One year it was investing, and I think that's the last year. What you're talking about, we did an entire year study on investing. What does that look like? And at the end of RBG, the kids, I mean, they could read stock charts. They knew when to buy. They knew they were, oh my gosh, just phenomenal, really. But at the end of the year, we gave them an opportunity to actually go out and purchase real stock. So it's wonderful that you say that, because the students who were with us last year, as we're in the midst of this pandemic, they're like checking in their stock, like, we need to get something. They're telling their mom, like, come on, we need to buy, like, because they know that the stock prices are lower. So this is something, what they get at RBG Academy doesn't stop. You know what I mean? So I know when I was in school, I would learn whatever I needed. I would get my A. And if you ask me 2-3 months later, I don't remember. It wasn't meaningful. But in our environment, in the curriculum that we've created, these kids years later, they remember this stuff, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, they're applying what they've learned already. You know what I mean? So it's not like something they'd have to look down the road to do. No, baby, we're going to start your investment portfolio today. And we're going to watch that grow. And I always say, by the time you're my age, which is, you'll have accumulated so much. So our goal is for our kids to have that financial literacy, not just with investments. So this year we were doing an entrepreneur program where we taught our children how to build businesses. So we were supposed to culminate the year with a big old event where it was kind of like an entrepreneur fair where the people would be able to see the kids' business, and we, take them through the very beginning, naming their business, deciding on what it is they want to do, all the way to the end of actually, seeing their business live and in action, right? So we do a unit on personal finance, What does it look like to consider all these important budgeting decisions? What does it look like to plan? What is retirement? Can I do 401k? You know, like these things are super duper important. And we're not going to wait until they're adults, right? With a job and children and all these other commitments for them to learn how to do these things. Nope, we're going to start them right now. We got to get them thinking about these things and have it become part of their circulatory system, right? It's got to be in their body, in their soul, in their spirit, to constantly come out of them. So those are some of the things that we do at RBG. I hope that answered your question.
It does. Thank you. Thank you. And that's just wonderful. So as you see, like, RBG is going above and beyond just, 12 times 12 is. Have you read this book? But this is a holistic approach to education. Asa Hilliard.
If you don't mind, real quick, you said not just 12 times 12. So I just want to talk a little bit about our math curriculum that Stacy put together. I remember when we were talking about like, how are we going to approach it or whatever, she just had this idea like of tying history and math together. So now you're looking at our contribution to math. Okay, so when you see math, when you see 12 times 12, you're going to see our history with that, right? You're going to see the Shango bone and the Labambo bone, and the kids are going to know that we were the first mathematicians, right? They're going to tell you who the first mathematician was. Like, these things are so, oh my gosh. So when they're not looking just as history as a separate subject, it's everything. It is the foundation of our identity. And it has to be, even as adults, like, we need to know who we are. If we don't know who we are, how do we know where we're going? You understand? So, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. It's not just the list of timetables or whatever that they have to memorize. No, you need to know this, how this feeds your soul, how this came from your soul, right? And the soul of your ancestors. So I just had to throw that out there.
Thank you. People are continuing to join. We welcome you. Thank you so much. And this is exciting. We have an educator who has a team who has really taken Asa Hilliard in his writing To Be an African Teacher talked about you're not just talking facts. No, you're teaching a soul. You're teaching a spirit, a human being, and nurturing them. And so here we see in Jaunae and RBG Academy these words coming to life, and really awakening the African genius and mind of our children, but not only our children, but the adults and the parents in the classrooms as well, because the parents are there. And how now this family is in this restorative education. And when I'm talking about restorative, it's talking about now these parents and being and healing one another and being in an environment that speaks to family values and community values, and being able to understand how we work within and each other. You can't see the forest because of the trees make up the forest. So you have this aspect of the individual and the community and who you are outside of that. And I really like how you said that this is a way of life, because it's a way of life when you're talking about in the sense of, okay, now once you go home and you leave RBG Academy on Thursday, and when we meet, okay, you're not African anymore. No, it's not that. This is who you are, and you see it in everyday life. And this is what we're doing and going from there. And so RBG Academy, we thank you for what you're doing.
Sorry,
we
my
thank you.
Connection is breaking up a little bit.
No worries. We thank RBG for what you're doing, and Jaunae, and the work that you put into it. I'm going to tell on you because I love you and I've known you for more than 10 years, is, Jaunae stays up till like 1, 2, 3 in the morning sometimes, working on their workbooks and making sure that the lesson plans and the kid for the kids and the families are ready. And so we honor what you are doing. We thank you for what you are doing. We thank your husband Key and the family and the families and the parents who work with you and around you for having patience and grace and knowing what you need and the support that you have. And we just want to say Natural We has your back. And we have your back. Before COVID decided to come forth.
I know.
RBG.
Yeah, so that was another thing that we were looking forward to doing was the Natural We Hair Show. Oh my gosh. Sorry, my computer was breaking up for some reason, so I had to switch over to my phone real quick. But anyway, yeah, girl, we were looking forward to participating with the hair show. I mean, the children were so excited and then so disappointed. So, hopefully we'll get a chance to do it again, and it would be great if we could have people come out and support us, as they were planning to. But this is what RBG Academy is. So as you support community wonderment that Natural We is, like, you're supporting organizations like mine, right? So, I just really want to encourage people to stay plugged in, to not drift off and be in your own little bubble. We need community. We need spaces like Natural We. But man, we were really, really just bummed out, so sad about missing out on that.
Right. So what we're talking about, every year Natural We does a natural hair show. There's Sandra, one of our loyal vendors. So the hair show, the natural hair show, we are more than a hair show. So it's not just people showing off their locks and afros, which we do, and we all look good. But it's actually a fundraiser for a Black school organization, our cause. And this year was RBG Academy. So we were ready. We were on the phone just about every single week. Okay, right. We got to sell these tickets. Okay, who's the model? Like, we were ready and literally on pace to actually have our biggest hair show since the existence. And then Rona hit. But the hair show is not canceled. It's just postponed.
It's postponed.
So we are still going to honor that RBG Academy is our benefactor for the next hair show. That hasn't gone away. And not only that, but once we say, once Natural We has your back, we literally have your back. So if you can, if people are resonating with what RBG Academy does, and I didn't tell Jaunae about this, so I hope she don't fuss at me later because I know her. If you are interested in supporting RBG Academy, Natural We is a nonprofit. We have a Venmo, we have a Cash App, we have a PayPal. Timothy Bryant is about to put our Cash App and Venmo information into our comment box. But if you send any type of monetary donation to RBG Academy, and I'm not going to look at her face right now, we will send it to RBG Academy as a financial contribution, and you as the donator will receive a tax deductible letter that you can use for your taxes in the upcoming year. But RBG is not going anywhere. RBG is still working. Even in the midst of COVID, Jaunae is still working. She is still developing workbooks for the kids. She is still on Zoom teaching the kids. And so it is up to us to make sure that our Black-owned businesses and schools do not shut down. We must support ourselves. We must support one another. And so Natural We is dedicated to that. And that is what we are going to do. In the comments, Jaunae, you have a couple people who
Thank you.
She already crying.
Wonderful.
She's just trying not to. She's trying not to show it, but I can already see it. Miss Olivia is asking, do you need book donations? So Jaunae, type me up a little bit. Stacy, she crying. Stacy said, "Don't cry, Jaunae." Stacy's crying. So Jaunae, type up a couple things of what RBG Academy needs, and we will put it. We will put it in our newsletter and let people know. We'll do a write-up on RBG Academy. But we are committed to supporting RBG Academy. We're committed to our kids, our families, our communities, and this is what we're going to do. I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk right now because I know you want to.
So I'm just gonna say thank you, T. That's very you see, I can't even do it. Thank you, T. I appreciate it. Thank you, Natural We, my Olivia, Tim. I really appreciate it. And I have to leave it there because I am very emotional, and everybody who knows that I'm a crier. So if I keep going, I'm gonna cry. In terms of books, so speaking of books, RBG also hosts a online book club. And this particular one is actually still in session. If you want to sign your kids up, the age range is like, I would say probably 3rd grade to maybe 7th or 8th. And we choose great literature for these kids. And all of the literature that we choose, they feature Black characters. That's super important. That the kids are reading material with characters that look like them. And some of them, most of them are rooted in some sort of historical information. So we actually, again, we take the books that we read and we have the kids dig into them really deep and actually understand the historical background. Now, we also have another book club for the younger students where they're doing like beginner chapter books or smaller chapter books. And that's from kindergarten to 2nd or 3rd-ish grade. Within the homeschool community, grades get kind of fuzzy. So it's really based on your kid's ability or where you would like to place them. So oftentimes we have students who are not able to purchase a book. So, if I could give you a book list and you guys want to donate books, then that's super, super great. We really appreciate it. Just to help out the families who are not able to buy books right now. So thank you so much for offering that. And then, I guess I can send, like when T mentioned the workbooks, like that's like one of the biggest tasks for me, Stacy, and my husband, the 3 of us, that we just work long hours to make sure that we can compile workbooks for these students to take home and use as resources at home, and then have like a lot of our students, they'll go through the curriculum with us during the year and then they repeat it during the summer. So we have a lot of challenges with creating those books. So if we know of a printer or just any way you can help with that, we will really be grateful. So that's it. And just, additionally, just knowing that the community, the larger community supports us is a great support in itself. I really appreciate the comments and the encouraging words that you guys have. And we need those things constantly because what we're battling is so much bigger than ourselves, right? It's not just, like we get the kids with us for a few hours each week, but then when they leave RBG, there's a whole world out there, and we just want to make sure that we continue to empower and encourage them so they can take this and stay rooted and stay firm. But as the executive director and excuse me, our math director and our site, like we need that support and encouragement. That is so vital, to have the support of our community. So is it okay to ask if anybody had questions or?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Olivia, she said she wants a book list.
Okay, I can do that. If you want,
then,
if you can just type in you want to type in your email address, or maybe you can send it to T, and she can send it to me, or I can send it to her, however you want to do it.
And then,
but thank you. I really appreciate it.
One of our other executive directors, Jaunae and Olivia, would love to visit RBG Academy when things are back up and running. We also have Tony Robinson, who is actually in South Carolina, who is requesting more information about RBG Academy. So real quick, if you can also say the RBG's website, which also gives more information about RBG.
Okay, yes, it is. The website is rbgacademy.com. I was trying to put it into the chat there. That's R like red, B like black, G like green, academy.com.
Okay, I just put it in. I'll pin it. And as comments are continuing to come in,
you mentioned someone who was in South Carolina, the gentleman that's there. We're actually looking to expand and create satellite sites. So if you're interested and that's something that you might consider for your area, and you can rally the troops over there, feel free to reach out, contact me. I'm pretty approachable. Don't be shy. Yeah, so feel free to hit me up and we can talk it out.
So thank you for that. And we just, once again, we thank everyone for, Pastor Jack said, can you give us the names of a few books now?
Sure. I think our next book is called The Mighty Miss Malone.
You said The Mighty
Miss Malone.
Okay. As in Annie Malone?
Is it? I think it is. I read the book with the children. I don't pre-read them. So and I just got that one myself. I just got that one myself. So so basically it's set in the Great Depression. And I'm trying to remember our last book, because so we're finishing up.
Everyone, this is Janice Carr.
Sorry, we're just finishing up Rise of the Jumbies. So we don't need that one. Let me see. There's another one coming up. I don't have the book list in front of me, so I apologize. It's in another room, but
Stacey said that The Mighty Miss Malone is by Christopher Paul Curtis.
Yes, Christopher Paul Curtis. I was just trying to see.
He said, okay, Pastor
it's pretty tragic because in the midst of all this, my computer died. So I'm actually using my daughter's computer. Otherwise, I could just look it up real quick. But yeah, I can get you guys a list. Thank you. Thank you, Mama Jackie.
She said, other than books. Yeah. Okay, so we saw Mama Jackie. Pastor Jackie's my mom, y'all. Hi, Mom. She said, other than books, what other types of supplies do you need?
Wow. Well, we're always in need of whiteboard markers. That seems to be a thing that we use quite often, especially during our math session. Again, the printer, that's pretty much one of our biggest things. We need a good binding machine. I've gone through 3 of them already. It gets really expensive because they just don't last long. So we're looking for one that is electric, that kind of takes off some of that pressure as well. So we can always use papers and crayons and things like that. There are different math supplies. Stacey, if you want to go ahead and type in what those are, just to share with the community some things that we need. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We try our best to make sure that our we stay stocked up with making the class go smoothly and things like that. We needed a projector, but we did get a donation and we were able to purchase our own projector. So that was really, really, really helpful. So, again, I can keep you guys updated as we come across and new needs arise. It's really difficult right now because this is the COVID season, right? And we have to follow certain guidelines when it comes to opening back up in our physical meeting up space, right? Now we do have the luxury of being on Zoom, right? That's one of the saving graces during this time. So I don't know how those needs might change going into the fall, but we can definitely keep you guys posted.
Okay. Stacy, I don't know if you saw the comment that Lady O put. She's asking if you need games or toys as well. Stacy also put in the comments that rulers, compasses, and protractors are needed for the kids, because even as they are on Zoom, they will still be needing those types of supplies to keep the learning environment going as they are learning on Zoom. Another comment that Stacy put is tape measures, pencils, chalk, clay, those sorts of things as they maintain a high level of education for our children. And we're just so excited. We are grateful for the work of Jaunae and her team with RBG Academy. This is and this community support. We thank you all for just jumping in and in terms of supporting RBG. We're just so excited. So once again, Jaunae, thank you for joining our community hour. We are very grateful. We love you. Marcia, we love you. I love you. I ain't going nowhere. I can't wait to be able to hug you again. It's going to be a really long hug.
Seriously. Seriously.
And we will get our salmon kebabs. I'm just
get our salmon. Thank you.
Yes. So we thank you. Natural We community will be here next Thursday at 6 o'clock for our Natural We community hour. Again, we will start off with a breathing exercise and guided meditation. I really hope that you all are benefiting from just being able to have a couple minutes to center ourselves. Next week, our guest is Pastor Quentin McKinney from New Providence Baptist Church. New Providence has been a supporter of Natural We since the beginning of our existence, and we're going to be talking about being Black and Christian, and we do realize that there has been some institutionalized racism within religion and spirituality, but beyond that, we as African people have practiced the true meaning of it. And so talking about that, and Pastor Quentin McKinney will be offering some words of encouragement in terms of being able to just really navigate through this time and keeping ourselves uplifted. So we thank you once again for joining us. We are excited. We figured out the technology, so we're good. Thank you for everyone who made comments and things of that nature. So we will see you all next week. Take care.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, T.
Thank you. And then